Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to listen to this video. No, you do not have to take notes on it, but this video is going to direct you to the next set of videos that you will need to watch and learn about in regards to Kennedy's assassination. I think you might find this pretty fascinating. So, first off, let's talk about where Kennedy was assassinated. He was assassinated in Dallas, Texas in 1963. He was off on a kind of long term mission of campaigning across the United States. All presidents do this, especially when they are campaigning for their next election. So he was visiting Dallas. He arrived on plane, and then he was put into a really long convertible with his wife, and off he went on this kind of parade around town, which was pretty common whenever he visited a city to campaign. While he was in this convertible, he was also in the convertible with his wife, the governor of Texas, and a couple other people that were like his drivers. And off he went to wave and say hi to all these people in Dallas before visiting a couple other places. How this worked was he is going to come down this way, and this was the parade route. It was published in the newspaper. Come down here, and then he would make this kind of left-hand turn. And all along this route were people waving and saying hi and things like that. And so he's going to come down here and go. Well, the idea was to go this way. What's going to happen is right where you see this van is where you're going to see him get shot. He's going to be shot twice, and the person that killed him was up in this building. This building was an old factory, and it really was more like a storage warehouse, and there wasn't anybody in there, so he was easily able to get there. And all of this is still there today. This is called what they call the grassy knoll, and this is like the place right here today that they have kind of like the memory of this. And the guy that shot him will shoot him and in the head and the neck down here when the car was passing. Luckily, there was a man that was videotaping this, and we have this footage today. You're going to watch it here in a second. So that's kind of where the video, or sorry, not the video, that's where the car was when he was shot. So here's kind of the trajectory of where all this happened. There was a lot of forensics done on this in order to figure out who shot him, and there's a lot of conspiracies beyond it as well. This is a photograph taken that day of what the shooter or the killer where he was at in his perspective. So he had opened a window in the factory and put this box up where he put his sniper gun, and he's going to shoot from here. And you'll see here, this is where the cars would have been when it was shot. So he kind of had a direct shot at that. The guy that killed him was Lee Harvey Oswald. He is going to be responsible for that. When he shoots, he runs off and he goes and hides in a movie theater and eventually is captured shortly after the assassination. This is the rifle that was found, and we still have today from this moment. Also, this is the back of JFK's head. He did not die in the scene, he died at the hospital, but then there were pictures taken. This right here is the bullet wound of that is said to have killed him. Normally in class, I show these videos of the different conspiracies that developed as a result of this assassination. There were different viewpoints that he was shot in from the front, he was shot from the back, he was shot two or three. And so what happened is as time has gone on, we figured out like how he was assassinated and from who. And even though it's fun to explore conspiracy theories, there really isn't much of a conspiracy to it. In the end, we know what happens. And today you're going to watch the video and have it explained to you. So in a second here, I'm going to talk to you guys and have you watch these videos. With that said, afterwards, there was a massive investigation brought to you by the Congress where they did the investigations and forensics. And what they found is that no, it wasn't Fidel Castro. No, it wasn't the mob. No, it wasn't something beyond what we thought it was. In the end, we just found out that this kind of crazy man shot him. And that was that. I wish there was more to the story. I wish it was like a cooler story, but in the end, this guy was not all right, and he shot JFK. A lot of people believed it was communists or the Soviets. Before we watch those videos, though, I'm also going to have you guys learn a little bit about his funeral. His funeral was very well attended and was quite a spectacle. This is a famous photograph of his daughter and his wife, Jackie, and his son. When the casket on the hearse came by, his little son, who was 3 at the time, stepped out and saluted his dad's coffin, and it was a very emotional moment. anyone that was alive during this time remembers where they were at when they found out JFK was assassinated. Interesting enough, it didn't really matter that JFK was a Democrat or a Republican or anything like that. In the end, it was a very sad event for Americans. For a president to be assassinated was it was a lot, and people remember it, and it was very, very emotional, no matter how you felt politically. This is that famous photograph of his little son. Um, my parents were too young to remember this, but they remember their parents watching it. My mom remembers her mom crying when she saw this moment where the little boy saluted his dad's coffin. So you can imagine how emotional that would have been. What I'm going to have you do now is stop the video and go on to watch the assassination videos that tell you a little bit more about the forensics of JFK's assassination. Enjoy.